Just back from a wedding, took these shots this morning before the wedding started, and I'm just going to show you why it's worth waiting a few seconds more just to get the right lighting. The only difference between these two images, I mean there's slight movement because I obviously moved position a bit because I wasn't on a tripod, but we're at 1/250th at f16, the ISO is 200, it's a 32mm set on a 24-105 lens, so it's all very similar, but the only difference is the light came out. It only filled in a tiny little bit, but it just brought it to life. Now that's something that you would have to do maybe in Photoshop, so let's just try and move the duller image, which is that one, and we'll just brighten it up a little bit with exposure. There you go. Can expose it a little bit more, and we'll recover the highlights and bring it back. Still gone nowhere near Photoshop. Now they're looking pretty similar. So these are tweaks. You can't, if you wait for the light, I always think it's better to wait for the light. If you can't wait for the light, you can just tweak it later on, but generally always wait for good light and try and position your subject right. Okay, that's just a quick one. Just going to do a grayscale fix to this image, or black and white. It's called black and white, the tab that is, in Lightroom 3, but in Lightroom 2 and 1 it's always grayscale. I'm just going to click on grayscale. The image isn't far off according to the histogram, so you just click on it and see what happens. As you can see, it's not looking exactly how we want it, so just grab the exposure and just try brightening up and recovering, and just bring a bit more life into the image. That's okay. You can also pick in areas and work out where they are, so that's RGB, so that's 89, 89. We know there's still detail in the whites there. That's at about 94, that's the main highlight. And the windowsills are 80s, the mid-greys, and you can just work around your image and you can see by the RGB values and their percentages. Mid-grey is obviously going to be 50%. The blacks are right down the bottom, so we've still got detail down there. We'll just put that picker back in there for a sec. Go down to blacks and you'll see it's on 5 at the minute. I'll just exaggerate it, just move it one way, you can see it's darkening. But you can actually retrieve a bit more detail at the blacks. It was on 5. If you watch the histogram, there you go. Put it down to 3. We've actually retrieved some detail in the black area now. Shadow side here, still pretty good. So you can go around your image, you can just take a look at the tonal values. I'm just going to zoom in on the shadow side so you can see these are dark points, but according to this there is still detail in this area and you can see it. You can drag your blacks down a little bit more, flatten it off completely, you can still see it. It's because I paid attention to exposing the histogram in the camera correctly. Put the picker back, scroll out. You might think it's not exactly what you want. You can go, the great thing about this, you can right click and go straight to editing, go straight over to Photoshop, launch Photoshop. Actually very high at the moment up here, so we're just going to pull that down just to take the edge off the sky. Just drag your eye into the middle of the image. These corners will come down for me. Again, everybody's different. This is where you're really painting with light. I'm going to pull them down. The reflections I actually want to brighten up a little bit there. Image adjustment curves. I'm just using curves, not using any layers, just working directly on the image. I'm just going to pull the reflections up just a tiny little bit. This wall is probably a bit too light for me. I'm just going to take the edge off it, just so your eye goes to the centre of the image. So it's starting to pull together how I I like to see the image now. Something I might do with that is image adjustments, black and white. Go over to black and white and just have a look at the tint. Not that extreme. I would probably come right down here, and just give it just a little bit of something. There you go. You won't even notice the difference, to be honest with you, but it's just something that will be on the print that I will like. Just warmed it up just slightly. So there you go. That just shows that how you're working on. You're also working on a 16-bit file. That's why it took so long to open. You can alter that, but I like to work on the original file. And that way you get in the best quality. Just have a quick look at that image. That's somewhere near where I'd like it. Just going to swap over here and see if we can. There you go, and just go File Save. As I say, it's a 16-bit file. It takes a while. It's grinding my Mac down. Maybe I need a MacBook Pro. I think I probably do. I'll let it do its thing for a minute. Between Lightroom and Photoshop, you still need both, in my opinion. Lightroom is a brilliant work tool. It gets you a certain stage, but to give you that final touch where you've got your images exactly how you want them, I would go for the combination of Lightroom and Photoshop. I'm just loading them, they're back in now, down on the bar, so let's just flick between the two. There you go, that's where we started, and this will look like nothing to you, but once it's in print on the wall, that's the difference. Okay, good luck with your black and white.